Darkest greetings, horror, sci-fi, and Batman fans. Drew here from Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond, and I want to wish all of you a happy Batman Day, because today is Batman Day for whatever reason. I know Batman wasn't created in September, or he did come out in September, but today's randomly Batman Day, and I thought it was fitting because this year is the 30th anniversary of the Batman animated movie Mask of the Phantasm, which was based off the animated series from the 90s. And what's us to talk about that movie is we have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Eric White.
I always think you're gonna say Jackson when you say that. Like for some reason, I'm just like, oh, this Jackson he's talking about, and then you're like Eric. I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, you're myth.
Glad to be here,
Eric. And then we have the man, the myth, and the legend, Mr. Acton Jackson Harvard.
Howdy, y'all. It's all right. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. I'm excited to review Mask of the Phantasm, my second favorite Batman movie.
I'm excited to disappoint you with my take.
Yeah, I think you texted me you didn't like this movie too much. You thought it was okay. But it'll be interesting to get your point of view since you've never seen it, Jackson, and then hear what you have to say about it, Eric, because you haven't seen this movie in forever.
To be honest, after watching it, I was confusing it with an episode of the show. I had actually never seen this movie as well. This is the first time I watched it. Yeah.
About talking about Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah. I guess
our takes are lava.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty funny. Yeah, so we'll definitely be talking about that for the 30th anniversary. And then we'll do a little just quick tribute to Kevin Conroy, who sadly passed away last year, which was really sad because he's my favorite Batman. Like he's my Batman. Like every Batman fan has their Batman, and I think for people our age, Eric, because we're like 5 years apart, like he was definitely our generation's Batman.
It depends. I mean, I definitely saw Michael Keaton's Batman in theaters. And then I definitely grew up around this Batman. I watched that show a lot when I was a kid, the animated series.
Yeah. Oh, and also I just want to pay tribute real quick to the voice actress that did Harley Quinn, Arlie Serkin. She recently passed away too, which is really sad. And she was like actually the original voice actress, but the very like inception of that character, because that's where she originated was from the animated series. And then after that we'll discuss some best and worst movie theater experiences. And by the way, guys, I forgot to mention this is actually an episode of Ramble On. I just want to kind of clear that up a little bit.
I'm sorry to everyone from the get-go. Good luck listening through all this.
But if you don't know what Ramble On is, it's basically every month or two, we'll put a topic outside of horror, sci-fi, and fantasy and kind of talk about it. But I guess Batman is kind of horror adjacent. Like there's some horror elements to it, especially.
I mean, there's a lot of sci-fi to it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he uses a lot of gadgets, and there's always like mad scientists and stuff. Not so much in this movie, but we'll get to that.
But this is sort of like that Rocketeer sort of futurist 40s sort of thing too going. So it's sci-fi.
It's beyond.
Batman Beyond.
Which is sci-fi.
Yeah. Well, I bought the
full on sci-fi.
I bought the Batman Beyond box set still have not watched a single episode on that.
I've never watched that show.
Yeah,
Never
I've
seen it
seen
either.
it's been on in places where I've been, but I haven't really paid much attention to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the one though where the Joker is basically Blanca from Street Fighter 2?
I don't know. I don't know who that
He's got
is.
like long hair and he kind of like stands like an ape or whatever.
I think
I love it already. It's reason enough to watch it.
Yeah. I think that's the one where he's like that. I might be wrong.
Yeah, there's an animated series called The Batman. That's to be confused with Matt Reeves' The Batman. And he was he was like a weird kind of interpretation. He was an interesting interpretation. He had like
that might be the one I'm thinking of then.
Yeah, he had like dreadlocks and he like would climb around.
Yeah, okay, that's the one I'm thinking of, not Batman Beyond. There's so many Batman things, it's impossible.
But anyways, guys, before we get to that, I just got a couple of housekeeping things to get to. Number one, as you may know, as you may notice, I've been kind of absent on here for a while. That is because I'm actually slowly getting ready for my October horror movie review series, and this is a pretty big year, and there's a lot of stuff I gotta do to prepare for it. But I just want to let you guys know that the first episode is going to come out October 1st, and that is going to be a review of The Black Cat, starring Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi. And I did that with my friend Bradley Renfro. If you remember him from our King Kong review, and we did Kong vs. Godzilla and some other stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was a pretty fun conversation. So be looking forward to that.
Cool.
Also, we got I don't want to see what it is yet, but I don't want to reveal like my Halloween special, but it's a series of movies that I'm gonna be reviewing.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Maybe
Friday 13th.
Maybe. Don't blow it, Eric.
Critters. The Conjuring universe.
Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal Activity.
Wrong Turn. Puppet Master.
The worst series. Oh, Puppet Master. Oh.
No. It's a trilogy of movies, and I don't want to say it yet because me and Eric and my mom actually made a short film to announce that review.
So I should know what this is then.
Yeah, that's what that was. Eric with this Halloween special of these three movies.
I know. I'm messing with you. I'm good.
Yeah,
I know what it is too because I know what the short film y'all made was.
Yeah, so, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I got to play a character in that I really wanted to play, so that was really fun. Again, I don't want to get any hint about it because I want when the video drops or when that short film drops, that to be the announcement of this trilogy that we're reviewing. And some of you can probably reduce that down a little bit, but yeah, and that's going to be coming out September 25th through October 1st. One of those days in between those, because we're still editing it. Still got a lot to do with it, so that's pretty fun. So be looking forward to that, because that was fun. That was definitely a fun little thing to do, and you did an awesome job, Eric.
Yeah, it was all you.
Yeah.
I just showed up. You told me where to point the camera.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So yeah, be looking forward to that, because we got some pretty awesome movies that I'm reviewing. Me and Jackson did one. We did some werewolf movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so that's
what'd you?
Oh,
can you reveal what you watched?
Well, I already did my lineup.
Oh, that's right. You told me about it. I didn't know if you were.
Yeah, but if you don't remember seeing that post, or behind seen that post, me and Jackson did American Werewolf in London, Ginger Oh Snap, and then and then Curse, the Rex Craven film. Yeah, so that'll be coming out the second week of
At least it wasn't an American Werewolf in Paris.
Oh God, I heard some bad things.
I never saw that one, but it's got the guy from that thing you do in it. I like him.
Yep. He's great in That Thing You Do, and he is miscast in American Werewolf in Paris.
You mean
Fair
Tom
enough.
Hanks is in it?
So is Julia
Delpy.
Delpy is in it as well. It's like a weird movie.
Okay.
Did you
I
hear my
remember
joke?
when it came out, but I never saw it.
It's not good.
Okay, so when you said the guy from That Thing You Do was in it, I said, is Tom Hanks
Mhm.
in it?
That would have been a weird career choice for Tom Hanks.
Dude, can you imagine Tom
Although
Yeah.
I would pay to watch him in a werewolf movie, I think.
Yeah, can you
I would pay good
Why
money.
not?
He'd be like, hey, all right now. You better not bite me, because I'm Tom Hanks. I was in Castaway.
Mhm.
Tom Hanks person.
And then he just makes you cry because he reminds you of your dad. And you're like, you can bite me, Mr. Hanks.
Real quick, what is your guys' favorite Tom Hanks performance? Not the movie, but the performance specifically. A hard one.
That's a tough one. I don't know. Really love him in Big.
Mhm.
I think the movie
Yeah.
Big itself is kind of hokey and schlocky, and it doesn't work in some places. It's darker than it probably needs to be for it. But I really love him in Big.
I mean, I really think mine is probably Castaway.
Ooh,
Castaway's really good.
Because
Yeah,
it's
really
like
good.
he has to carry like the middle third of that movie
Mhm.
literally all by himself.
It's true.
Yeah.
And
Him
make
and that
you
volleyball.
feel sad when a volleyball floats away on the ocean. And he does it. He totally pulls it off.
He totally does it.
I'm gonna go with Catch Me If You Can.
That's a really
okay.
good, yeah.
Yeah, I love the knock knock joke scene. I think that's really fun.
Oh, the knock knock joke is hilarious.
Yeah, and then I like the whole mouse kind of thing, and the whole like every Christmas, like they always meet up with each other, or like Tom Hanks always like is on or always catches up with Leo's character. I thought that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But anyways, enough stalling. For our second bit of housekeeping, as you guys may know, I'm going to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Orlando,
Woo.
and I'll be there on October 4th and 5th. So, if you guys are going to be there on either one of those days, try to come find me, and maybe we can take a picture real quick.
Are you dressed up as anyone? Are you going to be like dressed up as like Annabelle or
you can't wear costumes if you're a guest at HHN. No,
never knew that,
because they want you to be distinguishable from the scare actors.
Yeah,
they're wandering around in the park. They don't want like guests coming in and pretending to be actors scaring people. Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, I will be wearing a Hellfire Club shirt.
You and like 1,000 other people there.
Yeah.
I'll be literally the least original thing you could wear.
Yeah, I'll be wearing a Hellfire Club shirt and a jean jacket. So I may or may not have a baseball hat on. Maybe. But yeah.
Well, I will also be there with him on October 4th, and I may or may not be wearing a kilt. So
you two are lucky. Get to meet up, go to HHN. I'm jealous.
Dude, I'm telling you, we all three need to have like a guide weekend, like one of these days. That'd be pretty fun. But
one of these days when I don't live down here in Florida.
Yeah. But anyways, guys, are you ready to review some Mask of the Phantasm?
Sure.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And I got the 4K here, which is pretty cool. Yep, this came out.
It's a cool cover. Cover is better. I don't want to get into it just yet, but better than some of the animation in the movie.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
We'll get into it. Yeah.
Before we get to that, here's a plot summary according to IMDb. Batman is wrongly accused in a series of murders of mob bosses actually committed by a new vigilante assassin named the Phantasm.
Dun dun dun.
So let's go around the room and let's give our overall thoughts about this movie, because I know some of your guys' thoughts are different than mine. And I'll start with you, Jackson, since you've never seen this, or you both never seen this.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, I'd never seen it because it came out when I was 10.
Okay.
And I asked my parents if we could go see it, and they said no. Because it was a cartoon, but it was rated PG. So it's like, and back then, my parents were
violence.
Yeah, and my parents were a little stricter back then than they are now. And yeah, my mom was like, cartoons shouldn't be rated PG. They should be for kids.
Hentai? What is that?
Yeah. But I used to watch the show because it came on, I'd get home from school and I'd watch like Tiny Toon Adventures and Animaniacs and then Batman.
Oh,
so I used to watch the show all the time.
Given all the sexual innuendos in that show.
My parents didn't watch those with me. I would just
it was for kids. Yeah, they didn't. There was like ads on television. It'll be fine. There's no violence in that. Yeah,
right. So, but so yeah, I just watched the movie just a couple of days ago for the first time, and here's my thing. So, for 30 years, I've been hearing from Batman fans, "Oh, this is the best Batman movie. This is absolutely hands down the best Batman movie that's ever been released." And I just don't think it is. I just don't think it is. It's fine. And we can get into details as we go, but that's my broad general opinion. I just don't think it's the best one.
Well, one thing, Mr. Harbor, I didn't say it was the best Batman movie.
I'm not saying you. I say for 30 years I've been hearing Batman fans say stuff like that.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time. Oh yeah, and I would encourage you guys to get this 4K because it the audio track, the one specifically for the 4K is really good, especially during the end credit song, the I Never Even Told You, which is a beautiful song sung by
Tia Carrera song. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was Lilo's sister from Lilo and Stitch.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is, isn't it? When I think of her, I think of Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, 100%.
I've never seen it, but I know that her version of Ballroom Blitz and
that rules.
Yeah, the way that he can he can hit those notes like in that rocking kind of style is pretty amazing. But anyways, Mr. Eric, what is your relationship with not only this film, but the animated series in general?
So yeah, just like Jackson, I watched the animated series a lot as a kid, but I haven't watched it in a long, long time. But as a kid, I loved it. It was some of my favorite Batman villains were in it, like Clayface and I forget his name, the Crocodile Man, and there was like all kinds of just like these villains I'd never heard of before, and I was like, this is great. And they were nice, tight little 20-minute stories, and then they were over. And I love that because it was perfect. It didn't go on for too long, which is something I would probably say about this movie, is that it's probably would have been better as like a two-parter on the Killer Croc, that's his name. It probably would have been better as a two-parter on the series, which I think it was. Like they were originally going to be like a direct-to-video or like a three-parter on the series, and then like Warner execs said like, no, we're gonna put it for theatrical release. And they had just started like finished storyboard, and so they're about to start drawing it, and now they had to like figure out how to do it in widescreen, and like so like it was a big nightmare. Like one of the creators has sort of like, I read he was pretty like cringy towards it now. He's just kind of like, it's fine, but it's like not perfect because they were in like a rushed like 8-month window to kind of get it all done and everything. And so, for what they did in the rush job, it's fine. It's a fine Batman movie. It's not my favorite, I'm kind of in the same boat as Jackson. It's pretty good. I just think it's probably too long, and like the Phantasm disappears for long stretches of the movie. Also, they
Yeah.
play
Oh, I
a
do have something to
terrible
say
trick
about
on
that,
you.
about the Phantasm,
Okay.
the Phantasm dealt with towards the end of the movie.
Sure. Go ahead. Or you want to say it now, or you
So
want to
when we
hold on to it?
actually get to the deep dive of the movie,
Oh,
I'll.
gotcha. I mean, I will say there's a dirty trick they pull on you early on in the movie, in the sense that they is that what's her name? Andy is on an airplane after the Phantasm has showed up. So they're
Right.
completely like, man, I'm just like, nah, it's dirty, dirty.
Yeah,
Also,
that
I
didn't
think
make sense.
I've seen like the first like 5 minutes of this movie, and I was just like, okay, I know where this is going. And then after that, I was like, I don't know any of this. I've never seen any of this before. So this was all brand new to me, even though I thought I had seen it. But I guess I was confusing
Mm.
it with another episode of the series.
Right.
I'm pretty sure there was a two-parter in there somewhere. Also, I have not watched the show since the 90s, so it's been like 30 years.
Yeah, there's been
Um,
several two-parters. I think the first Catwoman episode was a two-parter, the
yeah,
Cat and the Claw.
yeah. I feel like there was another one too, but I can't
Yeah,
remember. Either way, it's pretty good. It's
yeah.
fine. It's not my favorite Batman movie. It's probably
Um,
not my second favorite Batman movie. May not even be my. I watched Batman Forever after this, and I had a blast. I had not watched Batman Forever in a long time, and I was like, "This is terrible, but it's wonderful."
yeah.
Um, it's definitely better than Batman and Robin. I like it better than Dark Knight Rises, but
I think
it's somewhere mid-tier Batman for
I
me.
think as a kid, Batman and Forever was the one I watched a lot because of Jim Carrey, and plus that's the only one we had on
Oh
DVD.
yeah,
Yeah.
I used to quote them
that
all the
came out
time.
like yeah, prime time for me. I loved Batman Forever
I
as a
love the
kid.
part in Batman Forever is when he has his boss tied down to the chair, and he's like how he hanging him over the building, and he's like,
Hmm.
"Babe, you're fired," or should I say, terminated?
There's a lot of just wild choices in that movie. From
Yeah.
like
Right.
Tommy Lee Jones just chewing every scene he's in to like,
Mm.
man, we should do one on Batman Forever because it's wild. I
Yeah.
hadn't watched it in a long
I think we
time.
should do a Batman-a-thon leading up to the Batman 2,
Okay.
whenever that's going to
I
come out.
haven't
That got
seen
delayed.
I've seen all the movies, but I haven't seen any of those like animated movies.
Mm.
I don't know.
I've
I
seen
don't know
I've
those.
if I
seen a
care
couple
to.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are always
Yeah.
good. But anyway, here are my thoughts about Master the Phantasm. I fucking love this movie. This movie's amazing. For one, it has my favorite Batman villain, the Joker.
Mhm.
I know he's overused, but I don't care. I kind of get the criticism, but I love the Joker. Has my favorite Batman actor, Kevin Conroy, in there. Um, I freaking love the music in this movie. Um, especially the updated version, with the audio. I would love to see this movie from a live orchestra. I think that'd be absolutely amazing. I think
That'd be
Shirley
fun.
Walker is an underrated genius when it comes. Um, and I think she took the spirit of the Danny Elfman score and kind
Hmm.
of did her own thing with that. And I think it's just as good, if not better, than Elfman score. It's on the same level. That's a little block.
Okay. All right. All right. No, that's
I don't
fair.
think it's
I mean,
bad. It sounded weird, but I don't know. I just love like the psychological nature of this movie,
mm,
where Bruce Wayne made a promise to his parents that he takes up vigilantism, um, in revenge of their death. And then this woman comes along that changes everything. I just like that whole aspect of it.
yeah, I agree to an extent. I wish they would have just choose one or the other. You know what I mean? Like the flashbacks are so long in this movie that I wish
Yeah.
that they were just their own movie. You know what I mean? Like, is
I
that weird to say?
agree.
Yeah, it's like sometimes I didn't even remember I was in a flashback.
Yeah, exactly. Because they
And it
go
would
on for like
change
5, 10 minutes
scenes. And I was like, oh, right, it's a flashback. That's
back.
why
Yeah,
he's not wearing the Batman costume
yeah,
right
yeah. They
now.
go on for so long. almost to the point where it's almost like two movies mashed together in some ways.
Right.
Yeah,
Uh, I like I like a lot of
but
what
I
they're doing with
disagree
the
with that.
flashbacks. But I dislike kind of what they do with the Phantasm. Like, and honestly, the more interesting stuff is like his year one thing that he's
Mhm.
doing in those flashbacks. Because like the Phantasm stuff, like he shows up and then like he doesn't really kill that first guy, and
But
then he pushes the it pushes the stone on the second guy, and then he's like, the Phantasm is gone for like 45 minutes or something like that. Like
yeah,
just disappears through the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
yeah. Let me. Yeah, I agree. I kind of agree with you there. Now that you said something about that, but I honestly think the flashbacks and the acting that Conroy and Dana Delaney does, the actress that plays
Hmm.
Beaumont, uh, I think they're both really good or amazing at those parts that you kind of tend to forget that they're talking a lot of phantasm um in this movie. Just my opinion, Eric.
That's fair.
So
That's fair.
I think
It is named the Mask of the Phantasm, so
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and I will say, out of all the love interests of Bruce Wayne and Batman,
Mm.
I would say that Andrea Bombeau, or yeah, I think that's her name.
Beaumont.
Hmm.
Yeah, Beaumont.
Beaumont.
Yeah, Andrea Beaumont. Can I always get the actress that was married to John Carpenter confused with
Mm.
character. But Andrea Beaumont is probably my favorite Batman love interest. Cause I like how,
Yeah,
I just like how like spunky she is. Like she's kind of sarcastic. Um, you
and she
know,
could really like handle her own compared
yeah,
to some of the other love interests that he's had in the movies.
yeah, like
So I mean, I think that's it. She's a cool, interesting person that they don't do enough with. In my opinion,
yeah,
they just kind of
Yeah,
just
no,
underwritten a little bit.
I'm with you. I just don't feel like that character pops enough, particularly as much as she should, since she's a character we don't know anything about. Like we've never met her, we've never heard of her. So she's this brand new character that they've thrown into this story. So they should do something to make her pop a little bit more, and I just don't feel like they pulled
I
it off.
disagree. I disagree because the first moment that Bruce and her meet are at it's in that cemetery, and she's talking to her parent or her mom, and then I had it just written down. And then she asked Bruce, "What's a man like you always looking like he wants to drop off a cliff?" And he says, "Mother was asking." Like she's a
Mm.
funny character. I don't get
It's
why she's
true. I
not.
I do. I was thinking that was going to pay off for us at some point. Like it feels like a plant for something that they're going to play off later. That the
Right,
mom
that's true.
is alive, or like there is. I don't know. Like that was is something that was like a plant to a setup. It was a setup to a payoff that never happened. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true, I guess. And then I like the part when he's doing taekwondo or whatever, and then she asks him what he's doing, and he says taekwondo, and she's like gesundheit.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
Oh, and then she
yeah.
like sweep kicks him, and I'm just like, she's the Phantasm. Like as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, she's the Phantasm.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, that was something that I did think about. When I
Mm,
was watching this movie, it's like, wait, is she the phantasm?
hmm.
And she's in the beginning of the movie, or like characters at the beginning of the movie.
Hmm.
But then, but then, like you see her flying to Gotham.
Hmm.
Yeah, it
Hmm.
doesn't make any sense. It's
Yeah,
just
Hmm.
yeah,
yeah,
that was
it's
one.
just planting false seeds.
Yep.
That's
But I
all that
will
is.
say that this movie, right off the bat, like feels very cinematic. Like it tells you like, no, this isn't the TV show. This is a movie because you have like the building that painting's on over the buildings, and then you have like
Oh,
sort of
that CGI shot at the top.
yeah,
Oh, the opening credits, you sit there and the music's awesome and the animation's really cool but then the rest of the movie doesn't look like that. That's
No,
that's
no.
one of the nitpicks I had. The rest of the movie
Oh no,
looks like the show to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which apparently they were going to do. Do you remember the Spider-Man show from the 90s?
Mhm.
I think it was just called Spider-Man, where they had CGI buildings, and then he was like an animated version that was like swinging through them, like a hand-drawn version. Apparently, they were going to do that with the show, with the Batman show, just for ease of use. So all the buildings would have been CGI, and then it would have been an anime version of him swinging through, and they just never did it. So they built it. They built that opening title thing, that cityscape. They built that
Hmm.
for the show itself, and just never
Right.
used it. And I think they just tossed it in here as sort of like, I don't know why, but I mean, it looks cool. I wish they had done more with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, I disagree with you. I think the animation is like, I mean, and then granted, I'll give you that. Like, they didn't intend this to be,
Sure.
be played in the theater with like only like 5 people saw this movie in theaters.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I read something that Mark Hamill went to go see the movie, and like there was like a handful of people there, and like he just invited them all to sit with him while he watched it.
Oh,
All these
man,
random people.
I cannot imagine watching a Batman movie where Mark Hamill is voicing the Joker in the theater with Mark Hamill voicing the Joker. Watching Mark
That
Hamill,
sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
yeah. But I do think it's a bit of a step up. Um, as far as like the camera angles go, and as far as like
Yeah, there are
go,
some shots in this movie that I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing there. But then
Mhm.
the rest of the movie just seems very pedestrian as far as its
I
animation goes.
honestly think, and I keep going back to the music. I honestly think the music is what makes it a step above this show.
Sure.
I
I give
think,
you that. The music's really good.
yeah, well, I think what probably happened was, um, they probably didn't have the music together, or she probably didn't record the music, when they
Mm.
decided to go theatrical with the movie. So
Oh, maybe. Yeah, she may have done it
thankfully,
after the fact. Yeah.
yeah, so maybe at that point, it's like, okay, we really gotta make this cinematic, like
Yeah.
your surround sound.
Possible. I will say I do love the like scenic design. I love all this like Art Deco 40s Batman style with like these deep shadows. All those are always super cool.
Right.
Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, some of the
it looks
dialogue, yeah,
good like the show looked good.
yeah,
But
exactly. But
when
yes,
I'm watching a movie, I'm thinking of like a movie aesthetic, and this still had a TV aesthetic. And that's not the fault of the people who made
Right.
it. It's the fault of
yeah,
the studio that decided to release these like 3 episodes of TV as
Mhm.
one movie.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
But
what they
again,
were doing on TV at the time was way cooler and way different
yeah.
than what other like animated super like you look at something like the X-Men show and that had its moments, but like the Batman show looked way cooler than the X-Men show.
Yeah.
oh yeah. I mean, as far as
Yeah,
like character moves and like action sequences, and even
right.
just like the idea of like light and shadow, like all those like GI Joe and like
Yeah.
you said X-Men and Turtles, they're all like high key, brightly lit. They
Yeah.
people are just
So
standing awkwardly saying lines, and then they'll cut to something else. You know what I mean? Like,
so yeah, I'm not faulting this in that sense. I'm just saying like it doesn't really feel like a movie to me,
Right.
you know.
But it also helps if you, I
But
don't know how you guys watch this, but it also helps that you watch this like on a really good TV screen, like I did on
mm,
our outlet in the living room. Like it really helps
mm.
with that.
I will say, yeah, I watched it. I imagine the 4K is better. The version I watched was just on HBO,
Hmm.
and
yeah,
it definitely had not been touched a lot. That's what it looked like. It still
Okay.
looked a little like crunchy in spots, and
yeah,
it probably I would say that it would be worth watching on a higher definition than the version I
yeah.
watched. So HBO be on warn.
Yeah, for sure. And also another reason to pick up the 4K is there's a really good tribute to Kevin Conroy that's about 24
Mm.
minutes long, and I watched it a few hours ago before we recorded this, and it literally left me in goosebumps and tears. It was so
Hmm,
beautiful
that's nice.
having all these people that worked with them and were friends with them
Mhm.
talk about how great of a guy he was. And as you guys know, I met him, and I'll get to my experience once we get to that portion of this
Sure.
this in a ramble on. But I will say another moment I really like in this movie is that opening action scene when he's like taking out all the mob people, and like he like tosses or he flips that table over that one guy, and
Yeah.
next room, and he just stops the table on the dude.
That was a nice touch. I did like
It was
that.
a nice
Yes.
touch.
Yeah.
There are some nice touches, especially in the last 45 minutes or so, up until that fight with the Joker, which why he's going to blow his amusement park up doesn't make any sense to me. But there's a lot of nice moments that, like the sequence where the cops are chasing him and he has to like get rid of his cowl, and like now he's running naked basically through the streets.
Yeah,
Like
that's pretty
those
good.
are like some
That's pretty
nice
good.
moments.
I like that.
Right.
Um,
I will say one problem I do have with this movie, other than the fact that it didn't make sense that Andrea Beaumont is flying to Gotham after he became the Phantasm.
it could have been an easy like line of dialogue that they just used to clear that up or something, but like I don't know.
I think the second biggest problem I have with this movie is the fact that I feel like the Phantasm gets kind of sidelined towards the end of this movie. Joker,
Yeah.
Joker is a big part of the story. Like he's not just shoehorned in here. And of course, I mean, you kind of have to have Joker. I feel like if this is going to be your first experience with this version of Batman, you know, it kind of having the Joker in there. Another thing I just thought about, it would have been nice to have another villain like the Penguin or somebody.
That's my main gripe with the story is that you have the Joker. He's not really. I guess he's turns out to be the main villain, but he's not the main villain starting out.
Yeah.
He kind of gets brought into the story pretty late. But what I like about Batman is he's got like all these great villains, and the way they interact with each other is really fun.
Right.
Whereas in this movie, it's just, you got the Joker and you got the Phantasm a little bit, and then the rest of it's just like generic mob bosses. And there's nothing, and this is a personal thing for me. There's nothing I find more boring than generic mob bosses.
I love mafia stuff.
I know you love mafia stuff, and I don't understand the fascination with mafia stuff. I think that they are so boring.
Well, I'll tell you what I like about the mafia is it's sort of the anti-American dream, where it's kind of like you come over here, you make a. Now things are kind of not always like that, but the idea of the American dream is you come over here, you make an honest living, and then you work your way up. That's the idea of it. But the gangster or the anti-American dream, because they're doing it in a criminal way, and I just find it fascinating. I'm not.
Okay, fine. Watch Goodfellas. Why do I have to have mafia stuff in my Batman movie? Batman has so many great
with mob dealers.
You got a point.
You're dealing with mob.
It's so that the Phantasm could bump off a bunch of just random dudes without it
one
mattering.
Of the mob bosses the Penguin.
Yeah.
I want to be the Penguin.
And honestly, would have been a very interesting, because supposedly this was supposed to be like the show was going to end and they were going to make this movie and then that was it. So would have been interesting, like Jackson's saying, is that if it was the Phantasms was bumping off villains at the top of it.
That's way more interesting. That is so much more interesting.
And then Batman's conflicted. He's just like, I'm not supposed to kill these guys, but am I supposed to be mad that he's taking, people off the streets?
Yeah,
honestly, a variation on this same type of story was done way better in the comics in the series Hush. Hush is essentially the same story. Mask of the Phantasm. It's, somebody from Bruce's past and they've assumed this villainous identity. But in that story, you've got like all the other villains show up at some point and they do something,
And honestly,
this one is just like a bunch of guys in suits.
Kind of like that too.
Yeah.
Like we have
which one?
The Long Halloween.
See, I've never read that one. Okay.
I read it.
Read that one at some point.
The movie's really good. Well, I remember I think it was part two because they split it up into two parts for whatever freaking reason. But part two was one of the first things that ever watched on an outlet TV, and they're just shot with the Scarecrow. It looked freaking phenomenal, like on our outlet.
Cool.
Now I want to talk about one of my favorite parts. It's when, let me look at my notes real quick. We get to see a little behind the scenes of this show. It's when I love the flashback when Bruce Wayne basically puts on the Batman costume for the very first time when he finds out that Andrea left with her father. And then the whole thing about it is he's trying to, like, he has like the combat skills. He has like some of the gadgets and all that stuff. He doesn't have his mark. His thing to really scare the crap out of criminals. And how he puts on the Batman costume. And the music on that is amazing. And then the look on Alfred's face.
Yeah, that was one of the best parts right there. Yeah. That's the Batman I want to see.
The only thing is, I wish, and I know, it's one of those things, we've seen this a million times, but I wish they would have gave you a reason why he chose a bat persona. Like in year one where he's, it's kind of, it was, like I said.
They sort of do that. You've got the swarm of bats that comes up when he's with Andrea, which is another really cool shot where you see I don't know what you call a group of bats, but it's just a whole swarm of bats, and they're swirling through the air, flying up into the sky. That was a great shot.
But like in the year one comic, it's the same thing where he has all the skills down pat, but he's trying to find his angle, and then he's sitting in by his father's place, and he's like kind of calling out to his father, saying like, "Give me a sign, father." And that's when a bat comes into the room.
Yeah,
they would have something similar to that, but yeah, but I mean,
I want to see all the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, but I think him discovering the Bat Cave with all the bats flying everywhere, like you were saying, Jackson, I think that's more like a subliminal thing. He's like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
Well, it's more all the failed Batman costumes.
Yeah.
Steel Man.
It's more explicit in Batman Begins. They do it really well, where he falls down the well and all the bats are swarming around, and he says later in the movie, he's like, Alfred's like, why a bat? And he's like, because bats, I'm afraid of bats.
Yeah.
So if I become what I'm afraid of and use it to turn on my enemies,
right. So I can become a vigilante and just take on the persona of a home invader, because that scares me.
Right. I mean, that's basically what he is at the beginning. Whenever he takes on those guys stealing boxes out of it never just specifies what they're stealing. They're just stealing something.
Oh no!
He's basically just a home invader at that point.
That's exactly what he looks like. Yeah.
And I also like seeing Harvey Bullock like younger. I thought that was pretty neat before he became like a detective or whatever. Like he was like in lower ranks of. Also, speaking of that, I wanted more Jim Gordon in this. I freaking love it.
Yeah, he's barely in it. Yeah. All he does is like, he shows up and he's like, I'm not chasing the Batman because Batman doesn't kill anybody. And that's basically his whole character.
I'm out. And then he's gone the rest of the movie.
Yeah. And then you've got this random city council member who is somehow like ordering the cops around. That doesn't make any sense.
Oh, Arthur Reed. Which is funny. Yeah. The guy that played Ellis in Die Hard.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay, that's funny.
Batman, Bubby, I'm your white knight. I freaking love Ellis. That dude's just a flying ball. But what else I was gonna say? Oh, well, speaking of Jim Gordon, I think up until Zoe Kravitz, as Selena Kyle. I thought the only actor that got a Batman character 100% correct or accurate was Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon. Or
He was amazing.
yeah, like he was
He's
like
pretty good. He's pretty great.
I really like Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon.
yeah, he was good.
He didn't have as prominent a role as Gary Oldman did, but hopefully when they take up this series, once the stupid studios will bend to the will of the actors and the writers.
Yeah, well, that's only going to happen.
Hopefully they will.
They learn that. So the longer this goes, like this is going to hurt us. That's about. So it's
hopefully they acquiesce and the actors and writers win, and then we get to see more Batman movies with Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon, because I really like that casting.
Yeah,
or just a spinoff with just him as Jim Gordon without the Batman. What's he do normally?
I'm really looking forward to the Penguin show. And also, sorry.
I was just saying, I don't care about it. I'm tired of them making shows out of stuff. Just make some movies.
Yeah,
not everything has to be a 10-part series.
Yeah, I get that. I think Colin Farrell was so good as Penguin.
He's great. He's great. Just put him in more movies. I don't need to see like the Penguin.
I'm really happy that they got Clancy Brown as Sal Maroni. When I saw that, I'm like, that was awesome. That's perfect casting.
I like him. I don't care about gangsters, but I like him as an actor.
Yeah, I freaking love Clancy Brown. I got something to say. It's better to burn up than to fade away. Highlander.
It's been forever since I've seen Highlander.
Yeah, Highlander fucking rules.
Because when I think of Clancy Brown, I think of the guard from the Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yeah,
that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Yeah,
that and Pet Cemetery for some reason.
I saw Clancy Brown once in person when I was working in Austin. He showed up at Fantastic Fest, and I was working the front bar, and I didn't get to meet him, but I got to see him. Dude looks like he's the coolest guy in the room.
I'm gonna give you to the count of 10. I'm not gonna give you to the count of 5. You will set the F up before I come in there and sing you a lullaby. And then like the guy keeps complaining and just beats the crap out of him. And he's like, if I hear so much of a mouse fart in here, I'll send every single one of you into the infirmary.
Oh goodness, that movie.
No, I freaking love that movie. That's my top 3 movies of all time.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to not like that movie. I know there are some people that don't, but those people don't.
It's been a long while since I saw it. TNT used to run it like every day when I was a kid. Yeah, so I've seen the movie a lot. But
yeah,
I actually went to the prison where they filmed that.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was awesome. Huh. Well, because I think I told you that, Eric. Can't remember.
Maybe.
Well, because the week after that, we did our top 5 Stephen King movies.
Did we do a top 5 Stephen King movies?
Yeah, because we did our Brad Bird video the day before I left to Ohio.
I don't remember what my top 5 Stephen King movies are, so I guess I'll have to go back and rewatch the video.
Well, your number 1 was Creepshow, which I don't know if that counts.
Was it? That actually sounds about right, yeah.
Stephen King.
I do love Creepshow. But he wrote the screenplay, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean,
I also do love Maximum Overdrive, which is a terrible movie.
But anyway, guys, if you got nothing else to say about this movie, you want to go to favorite part and least favorite part?
Sure.
Trying to think if I have anything else to say. Oh, well, okay. Other than the fact that they created this like sort of red herring by showing Andrea on the plane after the Phantasm has already shown up, I just don't buy her as the Phantasm.
Yeah.
I just don't buy it. Like, it's just like, it's a twist when she takes off the cowl and like her tiny little petite body was underneath this big hulking cowl. I'm just like, no way. Don't buy it. Sorry.
Yeah, apparently I did read about that after I watched it. They based the body type off of the Phantasm when it's like fully masked off the body type of her dad,
Mm,
which doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense once like once you know like physically wise, like she's not that big. I don't know. It would have
it's
been
Yeah.
kind of like
interesting
a
to have a more slim, smaller, less hulking, because Batman's big and hulking. Like he's
Right.
so it
And
would have
that's
been nice
part
to
of
have
it
some,
is
yeah.
they're supposed to, like, the criminals are supposed to think that the Phantasm is the Batman when they see Phantasm in
Hmm.
like shadows and stuff.
yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
kind of
it
like
just doesn't work
an
as a
Amber
plot
from
twist.
Scream 5 situation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's another one that doesn't work, but you kind of accept it because that's just how the Scream movies are.
Right.
So Eric, what is your favorite part and least favorite part of this movie?
I mean, I think along with what you were saying, I really like the score. I really like uh parts of the story. I like the second half of the movie. I think is better than the first half. I feel like the first half kind of drags a lot.
Mm,
Um, Especially with the flashbacks being like so long. Um, but I think the second half of the movie moves pretty quickly, and I really love that sequence wherever like Batman gets trapped basically in like the building, like SWAT teams are coming after him, and he has to like send his cowl off, and then he has to run by himself, run like basically just like naked through the streets to try to like get away. It's pretty great little sequence. The least favorite part is like the end. Like I don't why is the Joker blowing up the his headquarters and like
yeah.
there's just so many things happening at the end. I'm just like, what is going on? And then
Ooh,
like she like
sorry.
kills him, but then maybe she doesn't kill him, and then she's alive. But like the only reason Batman lives is because he like accidentally falls into the sewer and gets rushed away. I don't know. There's just a lot of choices in that last like little bit. I'm just like, what is going on? They're like, we gotta wrap this up. We got 70 minutes. We don't have enough time.
So my I will say, speaking of the fair Joker scene, my favorite Joker line in this movie is when Sal comes to visit Joker at the
Hmm.
World's Fair, and he says, "What's a old timer like you want from a two timer like me?"
Mm.
That's probably my favorite Joker line in this whole movie. I love that.
There's some fun bits. I like that they tie the Joker in as well as they do because when he first shows up, I'm just like, Joker again. What are they gonna like? I thought it was just gonna be like a one off, like I'm here, but like it was nice that they tied him back into the story. All that was nice. It was a nice like little reveal later, but like, mm.
What about you, Jackson?
Favorite part. My favorite parts are just like little things here and there. Like it's
Yeah.
not one part. It's just like I said, the shot of like the bat swirling through the sky, or the part
Yeah.
where he steps on the table and crushes that guy, or um yeah, the part where he has to, use his cowl as a decoy and run away from the cops, without his mask on and stuff. So yeah, it's not like any one thing. It's just little things that kind of add up to it. And
Which would
then
have been
least favorite
an
part,
amazing like 20-minute episode if it just had
yeah.
all these best bits just like mashed together. But
Then least favorite part, mafia stuff. I don't
Okay.
mm,
care. Just don't care.
Um, I will say, so my favorite part of this whole movie is it's kind of two parts, but it's like right, next to each other. It's the World Fair scene. Cause I like
Mm,
that kind of it's that kind of 50s like Disneyland, Tomorrowland kind of aesthetic.
yeah.
Even though we'll
sure.
probably never get there with the way things are going now, but we'll see. Because he's finally happy at that moment, and he's
Mm,
actually gonna throw away his promise that he made to his parents until the whole thing was Andrea Beaumont and the whole mafia thing. And then he goes to his parents' grave and he basically begs them to to rid him of his vow. And then like a lightning strikes over the tombstone, and
Mm,
he's probably thinking to himself, no, like that's probably saying like, no, you gotta do this. Like you promised us that you're gonna be a vigilante and make that sacrifice. And then right before that, he says, I never considered being happy. And then Andrea Beaumont comes up behind him and she says, maybe they sent me. So it's probably one of the things like, well, in his mind, he thinks that his parents want him to be a vigilante to fulfill his promise that he made to them. But then, well, maybe actually they just want him to be happy in his life because they're
100%.
dead. Like no amount of vigilanteism and vengeance is gonna solve their death. Like they're still dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he might keep the crime rate down and he might, do things in somewhat of a just way compared to the Gotham City police force. But like that versus your happiness.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
another reason that the flashbacks are more compelling than the current day story,
Yeah.
in my opinion, at least. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just love that moment. I think that might be the highlight of Kevin Conroy's career as Batman right there. Like that's just some real powerful stuff. I feel like, and that's the whole reason why I love Batman right there. It's the sacrifice. Like he just wants a normal life, but he can't do it. He's so messed up in the head. After because his parents didn't just die. Like he watched them get killed in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Like literally watch them get killed in front of him, and that's gonna leave a permanent scar on anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my favorite part in this movie.
What's your least favorite?
Yeah, least favorite part is the fact that the Phantasm gets kind of sidelined towards the end there. So real quick, let's do rating. And I'll go with you, Jackson. What's your rating?
It's like a 2.5 out of 5.
Ooh, I thought you were going to go 3.
If I'm feeling generous, maybe a 3. It's not. I don't think it's terrible. It's just not my kind of thing.
Yeah, I got it. What about you, Eric?
About in the same boat. I was going to be a little more generous. I was going to give it a 3, but it's about a 2.5, 3 for me. Definitely middle of the road, sort of Batman. A lot of things they've done before in the comics, theme wise, and in the movies, and so I think they've been done better since, maybe even before. And so I'm like, it's fine. There's some great stuff in it. There's some mediocre stuff in it. Probably would have been better is like a 40-minute plot, like a two-parter on the show than 75-minute movie, but
Yeah. I'm gonna be the odd man out, and I'm gonna go 5 out of 5. I think there is some flaws, but
I know that was covered.
Perfect movie. Just nearly. I mean, hell, you can only point out flaws in like Back to the Future. Like there's some
flaws there.
Like just the fact that like George McFly has to prove himself again during the dance is kind of like redundant. I mean, it's an awesome moment during the Earth Angel scene, but like it's kind of redundant. He already did it before.
Sure. No. Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people love The Dark Knight, and I think it's a great movie. Do I think it's a perfect movie? No.
Yeah.
But
no,
it's good.
Not.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think there's flaws in any movie, but
you can literally nitpick any movie. No movie's 100% perfect. No, well, I hate to think about Back to the Future, and then I started thinking about some stuff. It's still a great movie. I fucking love Back to the Future, but like you think about some stuff too hard in that movie.
Sure.
It's
getting swept up in it though.
Yeah.
Getting taken away to a new place.
Let's do the quick tribute to Kevin Conroy real quick, and I'll start with you, Eric. What does Mr. Conroy mean to you, and what do you have to say about him? Like, do you have any words you want to say about him?
I mean, I think he was definitely a big part of like my childhood. Like the animated series. I had seen Batman and Batman Returns at that point. I can't remember when the show came out. Was it 91 or 92?
I think it was 91.
Was it the same year?
92.
Yeah, I think it was this. I think it was either right before or the same year as Returns. And I saw both those movies around that same time. So I love Batman. Between him and like Michael Keaton, like those are like my childhood Batmans. And so like he's definitely a big part of my childhood. It's weird hearing the voice now, like like just stirs up all these like memories of
Mm.
like watching that, getting home from school, making like a hot pocket and like a big glass of milk for some reason and watch Batman on the TV at like 4:30 in the afternoon.
Right.
So a lot of just like good memories, I think.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Jackson? What are your memories and or what's
I
some of
mean,
Mr. Conroy?
I can't pretend that I have like this long memory bank of
Mm.
moments, listening to Kevin Conroy. Obviously, I used to watch the show when I was a kid, and I know he's done some of like the video games, right?
Yeah,
Like the
the
Arkham
arcade games, or the
Asylum.
Arkham games.
Yeah, I played the first couple of those and I really enjoy it. I think
Mm.
he's got a great voice, had a great voice. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't say he's like a big part of my sort of pop culture development. But it's sad that he's gone. I know he meant a lot to people, and obviously was a talented voice actor.
Yeah, and
So
he was a good guy too. Like just everything
yeah.
I've heard about him, or even my experience, which I'll get to here in a second, um,
Mhm.
is very positive. Um, Kind of my thoughts is my story is I used to watch this movie or this show when I was younger, back when I was homeschooled. Like literally the first thing I would do in the
Mhm.
morning is make breakfast and watch Batman. And
Yeah.
I didn't really know who he was until like the Arkham games started to come out and everybody was saying like, "Oh, it's Kevin Conroy from the animated series." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome! I used to love that show."
Mhm.
Um, and then just kind of rediscovering the show again, and I'm like, "This show is really dark for a show meant for children." And this
Yeah.
is more like maybe like 11, 12, maybe 13. Like that's probably like the perfect age, 11 and 12.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Um, and then I guess I'll get to the story. Is when I met him at the Arkansas Comic Con in Little Rock.
Mhm.
You know, it was back in 2019 before the pandemic, and
Mm.
I just got off from work. I was waiting for my ride. So I was just going through Facebook, and I saw an advertisement for Comic Con, and I saw that he was going to be there. I'm like, what? I gotta go this year. I gotta meet Kevin freaking Conroy. And so convinced my grandma to drive me there. And we just had a great time. The whole time, had an awesome experience. Just in general. But so we get through the first, line, they get registered and get checked in and all that stuff. And as soon as we hit the floor, I started getting butterflies. I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to meet freaking Batman. And so, of course, that's the first thing we have to do. Yeah, because that was the whole point or that was the main reason
Yeah.
for him. So we go try to find him, and I walk past some people that I admire. Like, I saw Michael Bean from like a distance.
Mm.
I didn't go
Hmm.
up to the booth because I was just dumbest lines that day was I totally regret that because I love Michael Bean. As an actor, I don't know how he is as a person, but that's beside the point. So we're looking through all the banners. We're walking and we're looking at all the banners, and I look down for a second, and I see him. I see Kevin, the Batman Conroy, and he just had a glow to him. I'm like, oh, it's him. And I go to my grandma. I'm like, Grandma, that's him. That's Batman. And so we waited in the line for an hour, and so maybe like 20 minutes into the line, I overhear him say like a line of Batman. I think he says like I'm Batman to one of the other guys. I'm like, oh, he's he did the voice. And so I finally go up to and I'm just nervous the whole entire time because I'm just afraid I'm like
Yeah.
the idiot. Because like I said, this is my hero. Like you don't know how big of a Batman fan I am in general, and he's my favorite Batman fan or Batman.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so I paid my money, go up to Mr. Conroy, stick out my hand, and I tell him, Mr. Conroy, it's an honor to meet you. and then he signed my box set of the animated series. I bought one of those photos of the character, and I got that signed.
Yeah.
One of my best friends, Mr. Quentin Day. Shout out if you're watching this. And I got him the Batman voice, and he said, "Get to the Bat Cave," and I just started freaking out. And I got a picture with them, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
And if you guys want to hang tight real quick, I will show you the autograph that he gave that I got from him.
Get it, whip it out. I want to see it. I want to see his old John Hancock.
Okay.
I assume it looks very nice. Is it legible?
Yes.
Okay.
That's always a plus.
It is a plus. I've seen people. I've never paid to get anything signed, but I've seen people get stuff signed, and I'm like, how do you know that was signed by like Michael Berry?
Oh, nice.
Like, how would you even?
Yeah.
Oh,
That
sweet.
is that's a very good signature. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is an awesome box set, by the way. Like the transfer and this, and actually on Blu-ray, I don't really notice like the sound quality on them, but the sound quality on this is amazing.
Mm.
Yeah, so if you can find this anywhere, definitely get it. It's been out for a while. It's probably pretty hard to find. Or this version.
I used to have it on DVD. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just found like the standard Blu-ray, but this one came with some Funko, like mini Funko Pops, and then some pictures and stuff like that. But yeah, I saw this and I had to buy it because I freaking love this show. This, like, if you guys don't know, the animated series is my favorite version of Batman, and this, like I said, the fact that I got to meet him, I finally got to meet my hero, Kevin Conroy, and every so often, maybe every other week, I will look at the picture on my phone, which I'll bring that up, and I'll look at that autograph, and I keep telling myself, dude, you met Batman, the best Batman ever.
That almost makes you Robin at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
you're almost Dick Grayson.
Honestly, it was like the top 3 most surreal experiences of my life. That, graduating from high school, and then going to go see my favorite band Metallica were like the 3 most surreal experiences of my life. It was just unreal.
All those happened on the same day?
No, like it was separate. Yeah. So, anyways, here's my interview with Kevin Conroy.
Nice.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Marty McFly?
Yeah, I was Marty McFly. Well, I had the costume because I turned 25 that year, so I had an 80 party.
Nice.
Yep. And then here's a picture that my grandma took of him signing my.
Nice.
Yep. I thought it was funny how my grandma said that he looked like the Joker a little bit. Like he looked more like Joker than.
He
I
does
could
a little
see
bit.
that.
He's skinnier.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, interesting fact that he actually went to Juilliard School of Art in New York City, and his roommate was Robin Williams.
Huh.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah. And he also went to school around the same time as Christopher Reeves, which is really cool.
Batman, Superman.
Yeah.
Yep.
And another cool thing was that he never auditioned or never done any voice work, and that was his first voice work gig.
Really? I didn't know that.
Crazy.
I thought he had done something before then. Yeah.
Well, he didn't know the backstory of Batman. So Bruce Timm, the creator, had to tell him, like, so his parent got shot, and he's like, oh, I didn't know that. I just watched the Adam West series. I've never seen any of the comics. I never saw Michael.
Where are the shark bombs?
So yeah, so since he's classically trained in like the Shakespearean arts and whatnot, he kind of brought that level to it.
Gravitas to it. Yeah.
And what was interesting is he's actually the first openly gay Batman actor.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, and he and they even say this on the documentary on the 4K for Phantasm that this was like he was around in the 80s, so this wasn't something that was people really talked about, or people weren't
Mhm.
as out of the closet at that point. And he felt
Mhm.
like, for a large portion of his life, that he had to hide a bit of his identity, and he brought a little bit
Yeah.
of that into the role
Sure. Of
Hmm.
because Bruce Wayne is living a double life.
course.
Yeah.
He had to hide the fact that he's Batman. And I thought that was really interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Bless you, Kevin Conroy.
we all miss you, man. And I don't know where you are right now, but if you can hear us, I just want to let you know that you're the light in the dark, and you're a very kind and gentle man. And when I met you, and in every fan interaction video I've seen of you, you never seemed like you got bored of the whole Batman thing. You seemed very grateful. Yeah, so I don't know if you can hear this wherever you are, but if you can, I just want to let you know that you meant the world to so many Bat
Mhm.
fans alike, including me and Eric, and I guess Jackson. But anyways, guys, so that's the Batman portion of this video.
Batman. Yay.
All right. Yay, Batman.
So let's get down to best and worst movie theater experiences. And
Oh,
do you guys
boy.
want to do the worst first or the best?
We
Let's
can
do
do
the
worst
worst
first. I don't.
first.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't have that many worst experiences,
Okay,
really.
I'll let you go first, Jackson, since you have a lot.
Okay, so I have two.
Give me
One
give
of
me your
them,
top two or three.
one of them has to do more with the movie I was seeing, and the other one has to do with the ambiance surrounding the movie. So I'll do the first one. First one that has to do with the movie I was seeing was when I first went to go see Peter Jackson's The Hobbit,
The first one.
the first one, because I went to go see the like 3D 48 frames per
Mm.
second version that got
Mhm.
released in some theaters, and it was the trashiest looking thing I've ever seen on a movie screen. Just absolute dog shit. Like it just I had to walk out. I could not watch the whole movie. I watched it for about 5-10 minutes and I walked out. It was like I need like a like a voucher to come to a different show or I need my money back. I cannot watch this. It is painful because Lord of the Rings, that was a like a big movie going experience for me when I was in college, like my freshman, sophomore, and junior years. That's what we did like the last week of classes is we all went to go see the Lord of the Rings. It was so exciting. And that might play into my best experiences later. But going to see The Hobbit in 3D 48 frames, oh my gosh. I just and I'm glad that Peter Jackson has gone into making documentary films now because it's hard to recover from something that excruciating.
Right.
And then on top of that, when I finally saw the rest of the movie, turns out it's not good.
No.
Yeah,
But
it
that
should have
first
been.
time, I was like, I'm really intrigued about this 48 frames per
Mhm.
second thing. And then it just looked like trash.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It should have
So
been
It
two.
hasn't gotten much better. They did the same thing with Avatar, right? Like the newest Avatar. Their
see,
sequences.
I didn't see that. I don't think I saw that in 48 frames. I think the theater I went to see it in IMAX 3D, but I don't think they were showing any of the 48 frames. But I thought that movie looked
Yeah.
great as it
Yeah.
was, but I don't know what
Yeah.
version I saw because it got released in several different formats.
Yeah. The version I saw only had certain sections in 48. And
Yeah.
it was obvious when it came up, and it was just like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, now you have
Terrible when it says
the
48.
4K
But
steelbook.
the rest of the movie looked great. What else?
Now you have the 4K steelbook. And guess who
Now I have the 4K.
and bought you that? This guy.
Now I have this to enjoy for the
Okay,
rest of
so
my
you
life.
want to tell the story behind that?
That you
I couldn't
won
see what it
our
was
Oscar.
because it.
Oh, it's just Avatar the
Yeah, but they.
way. Oh God.
background is blocking it. Okay, I can see
Man.
it now.
Okay. Avatar: The Way of Water. Yeah, basically we did a Oscar guess and I lost and Drew owed me a movie and it could be any movie of his choice.
That was nominated.
That was nominated. And he bought me Avatar: The Way of Water.
Yeah.
I guess it's some cruel joke onto.
Yeah.
I'm not the hugest fan of the of Avatar or the Avatar
And I'm not
movies.
gonna miss it.
I like this one. I like the last hour and a half of this
Okay.
movie, but the first 2 hours are excruciating to me for some
Oh, and I
reason.
want you to mention this on the back of the Blu-ray.
What is it?
I want you to mention this on the back of the Blu-ray.
Oh yeah, no, I kept it. I kept your Blu-ray message. Something to the effect of, "This is what you get for taunting me with Halloween ends, you rat bastard." Clearly, we're good friends.
Like what happened was when I was on Christmas vacation in Florida, this guy bought Halloween Ends on Blu-ray Steelbook and he texted the picture to me. I'm like, seriously, dude. Knowing that I did not like that movie.
I like Halloween ends.
I do too.
It may be my favorite of the David Gordon Green ones. It may actually be my favorite besides the original.
I kind of agree with you.
Yeah.
It's fine. Okay, so what's your
Archer.
worst movie theater experience?
Oh, so the other one. So this one, I went to. This is when I was living in Nashville. Same with The Hobbit. I saw so many movies over the years when I lived there. So we used to have this art house theater called the Belcourt. It's still there. They've renovated it and made it not as good. But it was where you went to go see all the cool movies. So I saw like Seven Samurai there. I saw like some Bergman stuff there. I used to go see indie movies. I'd go see Wes Anderson movies. I saw movies from like, all different, countries and time
So
periods and
by indie
all the
movie, you mean Indiana Jones?
yes, those movies. No.
I know what you meant, Jack.
Come on.
Kidding.
Anyway, so it was like one of my favorite places to go to the movies. They do like cool, like weird, obscure midnight shows on the weekends. So I went to go see the movie White God, which is a Hungarian film that I
Yes.
love.
Yes,
And
yes,
I had been for months, going to the movies there a lot. I'd been seeing the trailer for that for months, and I was so excited. It was my most anticipated movie of I don't know about that year, but at least the season when it came out, which I think was in the fall of I don't remember what year it was, probably 2013 or 12. I don't remember. Anyway,
somewhere in there. Yeah.
but point is, I was so excited to go see this movie. So I get in there and I get my seat. And this is back before it was assigned seats. So I got there and got a good seat. And the movie started. And right behind me were these like hipster kids.
Oh.
Now, you go to a multiplex, you expect there to be some chattering and stuff like that. You don't expect it in the art house theater where
Right.
people who are like serious about movies come to see movies. You do not expect this. And these hipster kids, they were like not even whispering. They were just talking through like the first half of the movie. Finally, I got up the courage to turn around and be like, "Can you please not talk?" But by that point, the movie experience was completely ruined for me. And I know this is not like an exceptional story. This is just people talking in the movies, but it was where I was and it was what movie I was seeing and my investment in it as a whole that just, and I didn't watch that movie again for years. When I finally did rewatch it, I was like, oh yeah, this movie's amazing. It's a masterpiece. It's one of my favorites. But that initial experience of seeing it was just so sour at that point because I couldn't even pay attention to the movie because of what they were saying.
Right.
I was so mad. I was so mad.
Yeah, that sucks, man. I hate when that happens. Excited for a movie and then people wanna ruin it for you.
Yeah, but it makes it worse when you're at a movie theater where you expect people to be respectful.
Yeah, the practice proper theater edit.
Like if I'm going to see Ghost Rider at the AMC,
Right. You expect
care
a
so
little
much.
talkback.
Well, no,
Yeah.
no. Here's what you do
Yeah.
when you go see Ghost Riders, and people are talking. You turn around to them and you stick out your finger and go, oh.
Just piss fire all over him.
I freaking love that part. Dude, I heard Nick Cage's new movie Dreamscape is really good.
I didn't know he was making a movie called Dreamscape.
He's got so many movies.
Yeah,
Like I can't even keep up. It's crazy.
premiered at Toronto International
Okay.
Festival. And apparently
Nice.
it's about everybody in the world. Like he's like a failed like, or no, he's like a what I'm trying to say, he's like a he works at like he's like a dead end like college professor, and like apparently everybody in the world has a dream about this guy or something.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's a pretty wild premise. I like that.
It sounds interesting.
Call me intrigued.
I'm gonna check that out. All right, what about you, Eric? What's your worst movie theater experience?
I have two very similar to Jackson. Also, I will say that I saw White God as well in theaters. I saw it at a film festival here in Little Rock, and the audience was also not prepared for that movie. I knew what I was getting into. I love that movie. I think it's great.
Yeah.
But I will say, similar to that, I went to the local art house theater here. It's not great. It's small and it doesn't have a great sound system. But they show movies that you don't see anywhere else. And so I went there to go see Moonlight, and I love that movie. But my first experience watching it was in a theater where people didn't know that it was a young man's sort of sexual awakening movie. They just thought it was a coming of age movie about people of color, and so they were quite vocal and upset. So much so that people had to get up and eventually tell them to leave or shut up, and it was a big old nightmare experience.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so it was very similar to that. That was probably the worst.
I mean, it is Arkansas.
The other one, it is Arkansas. But it was, again, like you were saying, it was an art house theater. You expect people to kind of come in and be of like mind to sit and watch movies and enjoy. Then we can commiserate in the lobby afterwards. And if you didn't like it, fine, but you sat through it and you don't talk back to the screen middle movie. People are having a long conversation about things. Either way,
it was a pretty good movie. I mean, it's definitely I see why people consider it a masterpiece. I would probably never watch it again. It's one of those movies that like I just can't go back to over and over again. But
it's good. It's wonderful.
But no, I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm just saying it's not what up my alley or anything.
No, sure. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of movies that I'll never go back and rewatch again. But
right.
Second experience, and this was a little weird. So every year in on Austin, Texas, they do this sort of Jaws in the water sort of thing, where basically you get a big inner tube and you sit on this lake and you watch Jaws. And I was like, this sounds wonderful. Let's go do that. So we went and we got into the water, and there's like hundreds of people, and we're in the middle and just surrounded by people. And I got like I don't know, get claustrophobic, but there was like no way to escape. Like people are just like, it's just full of piss, and you're just like, people are drinking. And it was eventually we had to get out and go all the way to the back where you could finally feel comfortable, but you're so far away at that point. I love Jaws. I've seen it many times, but it was definitely like a nightmare. To just be in that situation with like hundreds of people just sitting like all around you, and it was wild. That was probably the second worst experience. And then technically that's not a theater. Technically that's like an outdoor drive-in sort of thing, but close enough. Yeah. That's it. That's my two.
Only got one, and it was for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Now to set a little bit of context to the story, me and my aunt love the Jurassic Park franchise. Like we went to see the whole all three Jurassic World movies opening weekend. And we went to go see the original Jurassic Park in front of a live orchestra. So we love these movies. It's kind of our thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw Fallen Kingdom on opening weekend. And there was a family behind us with a couple of kids. And they were already pretty loud and rowdy, but I get it. Okay, they're kids, they're trying to lose some energy. It's just the commercials. But they kept talking and getting up and running back and forth on their lower row, like for a solid 20 to 25 minutes. And I got up to get one of the employees to hopefully get on the, hopefully, like, you know, so like, let me start over. So I went to go get one of the employees. One of them came in, and I was hoping that they see the employee and they be, you know, and they'll settle down. Nope, didn't happen. So we eventually got up and went to one of the like the lower, like the back area of like the lower section of the theater, and we didn't really hear anything from them, and it was a lot more pleasantable experience. Oh, I do have one more bad experience. Man of Steel. Same situation. Family, kids. They were right next, and they were like right next to me this time, and they kept like giggling and laughing and getting up the entire time. It was, or through the first part. I think once Superman finds the Forces of Solitude in that movie and he learned to fly, I remember they kind of settled down a little bit. But there was a part in that movie when you see the birth of Kal-El or Jor-El. I can't remember Superman's Kryptonian name.
Kal-El.
Yeah, and there's like a little bit of nudity in that part, and they started laughing. I'm like, seriously? That's how you're boring.
I mean, super butts are pretty funny, so I don't know what to say.
Yeah, but anyway,
I will say two things before these aren't technically movie theater experiences, but I worked for a movie theater for a while when I graduated from college because I couldn't find any other work. So I worked for a movie theater, and while I was there, there were two experiences that will probably forever stick with me. Someone had relieved themselves in their drawers and then tried to flush it down the toilet, and that didn't work. So then someone had to retrieve it, which was me. And then the second one was this kid. The second one was this kid who, and I remember I checked him out at the front, and he was just like, "I want 2 bags of Skittles," and her mom was like, "You can only have one. You only have one. You're not gonna eat all of them anyway." It's like, "Well, 2." He's got 2, so he got the 2. Went to the theater. They're watching Winnie the Pooh or something. Next thing I know, I hear on the walkies, it's like, "We got a problem." And then so this kid had like thrown up in the theater all over like the people in front of him, and then threw up down the hallway continuously. He ate both bags because she told him he couldn't do it, and he just continued to throw up down the hallway all the way to the bathroom. It was a nightmare. Sorry, those are actually probably my worst theater experiences. But
I do want to ask you guys a question.
Just a rainbow, like a full rainbow all the way down the hallway.
That's funny. So when you guys were younger, like in your teenage, kind of middle school years or high school years, have you ever bought a ticket to a PG or PG-13 movie, but actually snuck into an R-rated movie instead?
No, I never did that.
Never stuck into one. I think I told you all this before. I did make a fake ID to get into R-rated movies when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It worked. So I don't know. No
I mean,
regrets. I
I
wasn't buying drugs or doing things. So
with my parents until I was 17, so they weren't going to take me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never had an opportunity to, because I grew up out in the sticks.
I think
it was a long way to get to the movie theater.
Yeah.
The first rated R movie I ever seen in the theater was Terminator 2. I mean, no, Terminator 3.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's say Terminator 2. That'd been great. I don't remember the first R-rated movie.
Terminator 2 on TV like a week before because they're doing the marathon, and my dad took me to go see 3.
Mine might have been
Air Force One.
Mine might have been the first scary movie.
Ooh.
I think that was my first R-rated movie, but I was like 17 when that came out.
I
Yeah.
thought it was PG-13.
My
Now, the
first
first
one,
first two rated R. Pretty
first two are like
raunchy.
hard R.
Oh,
Yeah.
I never seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that might have been the first one I saw in the theater. I know the first R-rated movie I saw, period. My dad showed me Braveheart when I was like 15.
Yeah.
So
I think, I mean, and then I guess TV versus.
I don't count TV versions of stuff. Yeah.
Well, I think the first one I distinctly remember and was on TV with A Few Good Men. Whatever.
Sure.
My mom let me watch that, like the ending.
Yeah, and I'd probably seen like the Shawshank Redemption on TV, but I don't count that as being R-rated because it's on TV.
Yeah, and I just remember the part in A Few Good Men when Tom Cruise is trying to get Jack Nicholson to confess, and he said, "Did you put that hit out on San Diego or what that dude's last name was?" And Nicholson was like, "You're DD right, I did." And my mom told me not to say that.
Yeah. I love edited TV versions of movies. I find them very funny.
Oh, you get some really, really good.
Yeah.
Melon
Farmer.
Dubs.
You darn melon farmers.
Well, the funniest one is Snakes on a Plane, whereas I had it with the monkey eating snakes on this 9 to 5 plane.
Some really good ones.
Another one I remember, it was Ghostbusters, and when Bill Murray says when Bill Murray says that one guy didn't have a dick, my mom told me that was another one. My mom told me not to say that word.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but that's PG. That's a PG movie.
Yeah, but still, like it's. It were words he didn't want me to say, Eric.
Don't. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I'm not. Don't say them.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to do best theater experiences?
Sure.
Okay.
You can go, Jackson.
So both of mine are kind of the same experience but like years and years apart. But one of them is a little different. So I told you one of my worst ones was seeing The Hobbit. One of my best ones was in 2002 going to see The Two Towers. Of course, I'd already seen The Fellowship, but the thing about The Two Towers is this year, because they came out like consecutive years. So the second one comes around and we are ready for it this time. But what made the theater experience so great was me and several of my friends decided, okay, we're going to go to this showing on this day because it's like right at the end of the semester and we're about to go home for winter break. So we're like, okay, so we got to go on this day. And so we used to get these like $5 discounted like student tickets for the theater near my college. And so I took up a collection among some of my friends and went down there and like bought us all like advance tickets. But then the word started getting out that I was like, so more and more people kept giving me money and I kept going back to the theater. I bought like at least 25 tickets for my various friends. And then we get to the theater and it turns out even more people that we knew had also gone and bought tickets. So there was like 40 of us from school in that theater, in the crowded theater to watch the movie. So we're taking up about 3 or 4 rows, and you get to certain points of that movie, like the part where they're riding the horses and Legolas like grabs the horse by the neck and like swings himself up and like everybody starts cheer. It was the first time I ever heard people cheer in a movie theater.
Yes.
My favorite part is
and it was just cool because like I did this.
Right.
I got everybody tickets. We're all here having a good time because I came and bought the tickets.
My favorite part in the Battle of Helm's Deep is when Aragorn throws Gimli on that bridge.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did that part too. Yeah. It was just an electrifying experience. The other one that's sort of similar to that is when I saw Avengers Endgame for the first time. Because by this point, I was living in Austin. I was working at Alamo Draft House. And so we had a midnight screening just for the employees the night before the movie came
That's
out.
awesome.
So this whole, and of course, people work at Alamo, like for the most part, they are movie people. Like they are into it. So this whole theater full of my coworkers, and I hadn't been working there that long when the movie came out. So I was still getting to know all these people, but it was like a really like tight bonding experience. And again, it was just cheering and like by the end, of course, you know, I'm a mess. This movie has made me into a human puddle. And just the fact that it was at midnight. And normally, if I start watching a movie at midnight, I'm going to fall asleep. Not this movie. Nope, nope, nope.
Yeah, sure.
It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
I remember me and my grandma went to go see that movie because we like some of the Marvel movies, and we seen all the Avengers in theaters and all the Guardians in theaters. And that part when the portal scene and Captain America goes Avengers, and I grab my grandma by the shoulder. I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna say it, and he goes Assemble. I'm like, yes, he said it. He finally said it.
Yeah. All right, let me tell you one more, and this is the complete opposite kind of awesome experience in the theater. Let's rewind back to when I lived in Nashville, and I went to that same art house theater, and I went to go see a Russian film called Hard to Be a God.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Trust me, no one knows this movie.
Okay.
It just was one of those movies that I would see in previews going to this theater a lot. And it looked insane. It's like, okay, so it's like a 3-hour black and white sci-fi fantasy,
Okay.
but it took like 20 years to make or something like that. And then the guy who made it died. Uh, but okay, I won't even try to explain what the movie's about, but it has kind of a medieval aesthetic, but it's actually set on another planet that's similar to Earth, but it's like several hundred years behind Earth. And the main character is like a Earth scientist who's come to study this planet, but he's wound up becoming like this sort of king warlord type person. And it's an excruciating movie to watch. Every frame is full of filth and gross something. Like everybody, like at no point in the movie is there not somebody getting sliced open, or they're vomiting, or they're spitting, or they're like eating and stuff is running all down their face, or they're getting set on fire,
The
something
three part,
gross or disturbing. No, but like
10 times worse.
whack. Like,
Constantly.
and
Yeah.
the plot is incomprehensible at the same time. So I'm sitting, and I will say, before the movie, I was in the parking lot and I was smoking something that may or may not have been legal to smoke. And this movie's 3 hours long. But what was fun is I was sitting near the back of the theater, and I can't say I was enjoying the movie, but I was transfixed by it. But what was fun about this is slowly watching everybody else in the theater get up and walk out, because they had to walk past me because I'm in the back. Up till about 10 minutes before the movie ended, people are still walking out. They're like, I
Oh, geez.
can't for
Can't
one
do
more
this anymore.
second.
Oh.
And I was like one of the only people left in the theater when it was over. So that was hilarious. Anyway, moving on.
All right, what about you, Rick? What's your best experience?
I mean, I don't know. Coming up with the best experience is hard. Going back to kind of what Jackson was talking about, I remember when movies used to be like released at midnight. When you did a midnight showing, it was like a Thursday and you
Yeah.
showed up at midnight. And so like Two Towers and like Return of the King and like
Yep.
Dark Knight, like all those, like the collection, it's sort of like I guess Marvel now with like opening nights, but all those start at like 8, so it's not the same. I don't know, something
Yeah.
about like getting there at midnight and knowing you had like a 3-hour trek in front of you, and like everyone's like real quiet and laugh and like
Mhm.
very intensely listening, but then also like clapping and all those are like wonderful experiences that I'll
Yeah.
always have. Those are always great. But then what was the good? I had another one. I will say this. This is okay. So when I was a kid, there was a theater in town that would do like dollar movie nights. And so like you would go and you'd watch something that you wouldn't normally pay to watch, and everyone would kind of show up. And so it's a terrible movie, and I hate the director, but like we went and saw Jeepers Creepers too. I didn't know any of these things about the director at the time, but went and saw it, and everyone was talking back to the screen, and it was just a wonderful like communal experience of like everyone just kind of awesomely
Yeah.
just dogging on this movie as it was happening. I love that. And then there was another time, this is later, I went and saw The Favorite in theaters, and it was that local like little art house theater again. But it was me and like one or two other people, and then like a bunch of like old people in the theater. People who thought they were going to see like Kate Blanchett and Elizabeth.
Like a nice
And
Queen movie. Yeah.
yes, yes, and they were not prepared for what happened. They got to like the second time someone called someone the C word, and like they just all in droves, like row after row of people just got up and like left, and we were just laughing and enjoying ourselves. It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah,
It was a nice social experiment sort of thing.
I still haven't seen that movie.
It's great. It's wonderful. I love Yorgos
yeah, you gotta
did I
be
say
down for his thing.
Yeah.
But
If
if
you
you're
are,
down for
then
his thing, you'll really enjoy it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that one that Olivia Colman, or yeah,
hmm
Colman won.
hmm
Oscar, yeah.
Yeah, that was
she's great in it.
because what's her face from crap that
Rachel
that
Weisz,
yeah, the wife, the actress that played Cruella de Vil, not
Emma Stone.
Oh, Emma Stone, yeah, she's in
No,
it.
the other
And
one.
Rachel Weisz.
No, the
Glenn Close?
yeah, Glenn Close. That's who I was thinking of.
Oh, okay.
She's not in that movie, but
No, she played her in 2001, 101 Dalmatians in like the 90s.
oh yeah, I thought you were talking about The Favorite. Sorry,
Yeah. Yeah, no, whatever movie
crossing
she was in,
paths.
the wife, like she was the runner-up, or the person that was gonna supposedly win, but it was gonna not.
Oh,
Wife?
gotcha.
Is
I see
that a
what you're
real
saying.
movie? Because I've never met anyone who's seen it.
I've never seen it.
Well, I just saw it for that reason, and I did not like it whatsoever.
So you have seen it though. You've seen it. It's real,
Oh,
right?
wow, you're the first person I've ever talked to that's actually seen that movie.
Yeah, it was gonna. If you won it, it was gonna be a career Oscar. It was gonna be that for that particular movie. Like, trust me.
Mm.
And she wasn't like god awful in the movie. It wasn't like I would have rather seen somebody else. Like, I honestly would have taken her if I could have had my way. I would have taken her out and put in Toni Collette from Hereditary, because I think that was the same year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, Toni Collette is awesome in that movie.
Yeah.
she
Well,
is.
you knew her big Oscar moment that they were going to show in the little clip was going to be the dinner scene when she's yelling at her son.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't watch that movie anymore because it freaked the hell out of me, but she was great in that movie.
You should watch Beau is Afraid. Have you seen it?
No. I heard
It's a
See,
wild
I went to
3-hour
see it
ride.
and I could not stay awake.
Really?
I could not stay awake. I need
love
to
the
give it
first
another
hour.
shot, but I couldn't get into it.
I love the first hour. The middle drags for me. And then I know a lot of people who hate the end. So
okay.
it feels like a director's cut that probably should have been like 30 minutes shorter.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little self-congratulatory, a little indulgent. I'll say that.
No.
All right.
But it's got some wild stuff in it.
Yeah, I bet. But I guess I'll get to my two best theater experiences. And my first one it would be Halloween Kills. And the context for this is I watched the 2018 film the night before, and I was so pumped for Kills. And the next day I woke up, I went on Spotify. I was gonna listen to some song I couldn't remember, but kickstart my day, and I saw that one of my favorite bands, Ghost, released a song that from this movie called Hunter's Moon. And I'm like, this got me pumped up for this movie even more. So I put on my Halloween playlist. So go to the movie, put on my Halloween playlist, and I put it on shuffle. And I'm not even kidding. That little final stretch to the theater, this song came up, and it got me pumped up even more for this movie. And so, like, and then I got to the parking lot, and the song's still going, and I'm like, the whole theater's packed. Like, this is the first time the theater's packed since the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to go on the other side of the parking lot to park. That's how crazy it was. And then, so like it's a Halloween movie, so I have to do it up right. So I got, my popcorn, I got my orange soda, got my Reese's candy, and the whole theater like with a riot, like throughout the whole
Nice.
because like freaking Makamai like fucking up dudes like left and right in this movie. And it was pretty awesome.
Mm.
Like,
I do love
He
seeing
kills
a
so
full
many people in
theater.
that movie.
Kills so many people in that movie.
yeah, I know you don't like it, Eric. I don't know you're a boss about it, Jackson. But I
Halloween
think
Kills, I like it a lot.
well, I still like 2018 more just because I love how it's like an ode to the original film. But this one's gonna be the most special one to me because of that little memory. That was just awesome. And of course, I have to say to the end credits here the Ghost song because I freaking love Ghosts. And then my second one would be back 10 years ago when Jurassic Park released in 3D. Me and my friend at the time, who'd never seen it, went to go see it with me, and I love seeing the interaction to this movie, especially the part when Laura Dern is in the control room, and the raptor pops up right behind her. I thought this dude was gonna have a heart attack. He leapt out of his seat. He's like, "Whoa!" It was so fun. It was so funny. It was the funniest.
It is wonderful seeing like movies with other people, and like full theaters, like packed. It's a communal experience. It feels like going to church in some ways. It's like, I don't know. It's wonderful. I love it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, especially a movie that you love, and then you watch it with somebody, or you watch it with somebody you don't, who hasn't seen the movie.
Yeah.
Yes, Jackson.
Okay, let me ask you this. Have you ever had a theater experience that you wouldn't say is like a really good or really bad experience, just strange?
Not really.
I have one.
I've got one. But you go first. Go for it.
So again, back when I was living in Nashville, this was not at the Art House Theater. This was just at the Regal. I went to go see The Man with the Iron Fists. It was like a 10 p.m. show one night. And I get in there, and this is back before reserved seating. So you would just first come, first serve. So I get in there, a little early, and I'm the only one in the theater. And I'm like, yes, this rules. I'm the only one in the theater. So I go and sit like kind of in the middle of the middle, which is where I used to sit. Now I tend to sit in the back. But I was so excited. I was like, I get to see this movie all by myself. Cool. And then I look down and one other guy wanders into the theater. And he comes and he sits right next to me. Like literally right next to me and starts like a conversation. And he was a nice guy, but I'm just like, dude. Who does that? If you walk into a movie theater, if you go to a movie theater and there's one other person that's already there, do you go sit right next to them?
Not really.
No, never. Just utterly bizarre. It was a cool movie. I enjoyed it, but that just like it was freaky a little bit.
I will say the closest thing to a weird experience I had was when I went to go see not the last Spider-Man, the No Way Home, the Spider-Man No Way Home. And it was again packed house because it's a Spider-Man movie and it's has all the other characters. And actually that's another good experience because of, when the other Spider-Man actors came out, the whole theater is cheered. But before the movie started, there was a guy that sat right like literally to the right of me. I worded that weird. Sorry. And like in the middle of the commercials, like he just got up and left. Like he
He was
Okay.
just there to see a trailer. He was just there to like they release some trailers before movies, like the Oppenheimer released before some specific movie. I don't remember what. Maybe he was just
Yeah.
there to see like Dune trailer. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Well, I saw the
weird.
Oppenheimer trailer in front of Nope.
Mm,
Yeah, well, cause I saw the Universal logo, and like the trailer's kind of weird and avant-garde. I'm like, oh, is this the beginning of the movie? And then there was some text that came up. I'm like, this is kind of a weird way to start this movie, Jordan Peele. And then like a Christopher Nolan film like text came up.
Mm.
I'm like, oh, it's Oppenheimer.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting one.
um, I did have one. I did have one like super weird moment. And it's real short, so we'll wrap it up pretty quick. But like I went and saw Midsummer. I saw it Hereditary. I enjoyed it. Saw it another one of those like dollar nights. People went ape shit for the end of the movie. But I went and saw Midsummer at like this it's called a movie tavern. It's like a knockoff Alamo Draft House. So people were
Okay.
eating food, drinking the beers, everyone was having a good time. This lady sitting like 2 seats down from me had ordered this giant thing of nachos. And so she's eating just normally, whatever. Then that ritual suicide scene happens, and everyone in the theater goes quiet except for her. She's just the whole time, just didn't even stop, didn't even phase her, just continually chowing down. And I commend her for it. I don't know if I could have done it, but that
I
was probably the
remember,
weirdest experience I've had in theaters.
I remember my theater went dead when Gordy got saw it and Nope.
Mm,
Yeah,
Oh
I think
gosh.
that was the first
yeah, yeah.
time like a theater just died, just based off of
Mm-hmm,
one moment that I've been to.
mm-hmm,
As soon as you like gunshot and you hear the blood and you see the blood spatters,
mm-hmm.
oh my
Yeah.
Air sucked out of the room.
um
Yeah.
I think the only two times that I've been to a movie when the place was completely empty was when I went to go see Last Night in Soho and then Barbarian.
Mm,
Hmm.
And actually, when I went to go see Last Night in Soho, it was actually the same day that Reed and Nathan did the first Halloween.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember that day. And I remember the
well,
part when when it's like the first flashback that Thomason McKenzie's character had in that movie. You've seen it, Jackson,
Mhm.
right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And when the dude that was trying to hit on her, not Matt Smith, but the other guy, called her the
Yeah.
C word, and then like Matt Smith just like just decks him in the face. I'm like, I literally said out loud, "Oh shit!" Wait, you deserved it. You don't call ladies that
Right.
unless you're
don't do
British.
that.
It's okay for some reason.
No,
I just don't say the word at all. I don't like that word.
that's
I
for
don't
the best.
sound the word, to be honest with you. Like the
That's fair.
sound the word, but yeah, that word just sounds bad to me. But regardless of the meaning or the context behind it.
Sure.
So, is there anything else you guys want to say?
I think that's about it. I had a
Yeah.
similar experience in Hateful Eight with a bunch of old people who thought they were going to see a John Wayne Western. They were not happy. They didn't leave, which I commend them for. They got to but they were very vocal during that scene, that yarn Samuel Jackson spins about
Oh
the
my
guy's
goodness.
son.
Yeah.
Were not happy with it. They weren't happy with it. But
I
that's
never
about
seen
it.
that movie. I wasn't a huge fan. Jennifer, what's her face?
Jason Lee.
No, yeah, that's her. Yeah, she
Yeah.
kinda got on my
That
nerves.
is probably the most divisive Quentin Tarantino movie. Because
Yeah,
there are some people
probably
that
so.
just absolutely hate it. I
Mm-hmm.
like it. I think it's a good movie, but yeah, it's definitely not for everyone. It's all right
It's
there in the title, though.
it's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
but like I said, the Jennifer Jason
Yeah,
character kind of got on my nerves. So I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
that's fair. It is very divisive. I also really love it.
Yeah,
I think it
I need to watch the like Netflix miniseries version. I've never watched that version.
Yeah, it's like 4 hours long. I've never seen it either. It's supposedly closer to like the Roadshow version that went
Oh,
around
I went
in
to
like
see
the
the
IMAX.
Roadshow version.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
I saw the Roadshow version, but apparently the Netflix one is divided up into episodes, so it's even longer.
oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I've never watched it either then.
Well,
Okay.
no, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It is divided into episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he makes some pretty jarring movies. Like every time it's been a new Tarantino movie or one I haven't seen before, like Inglourious Bastards, like I'm kind of taken back from it. I'm like, I don't know what to think about that. Cause he just tells
Yeah.
the story so unusually. It's very
Yeah.
unusual way of telling stories that he does. But
Yeah, I'm always down for it.
I mean, Pulp Fiction's in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I freaking love
Yeah.
that movie.
I'm a Jackie Brown fan. I don't know what to say. Love Jackie Brown.
Speaking of Pulp Fiction, next year for my birthday, I want to do a video. I want to try to make a big group video, but I want to talk about 1994 movies, which was the year I was born.
That is
Okay.
that is a year. That is a big year.
Hell of a year.
Yeah, you got Pulp Fiction, Lion King, Forrest Gump, Shawshank Redemption, The Crow, Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah.
Clerks.
Yeah,
quite a year.
I actually just watched Clerks 1 and 2 recently.
Really?
Yeah.
I love the first one. I think the first one still holds up. Second one.
Yeah, well, especially if you actually with retail like I have. Like, yeah, that movie's already relatable, just in general. Because I'm a huge pop culture nerd. Like, like after y'all are on this Zoom call. Once I've done the customer service retail stuff, like it's even more relatable.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Anybody who's ever had to do frontward facing sort of like public work can relate.
Yeah. I mean, I worked at a video store in the last days of the video stores.
Oh shit.
So I was there for the death rattle.
Death rattle. Yeah.
Dude, my favorite part, speaking of that, one of the parts that stick out to me is when the mom goes up to the video store with her little girl, and she's like looking for like some dopey kids movie.
Oh yeah.
And then like Randall
Scrappy Hero Pup. That's the name of the movie.
Scrappy Hero Pup.
Happy Scrappy.
Yeah, she loved that stuff. I can tell. And then Randall is on the phone, like he just starts listing like the nastiest sounding like porno movies or the most titles ever. And he said,
"Oh, what did you want?
It was what you're looking for."
Wonderful.
Come on! Oh my god!
So good.
Fired or running out.
Ooh, Navy SEALs.
Yeah.
Dude, one of my favorite jokes is when they're going through the montage of all the stupid customers, and he says, "How much is this?" And then like cuts to the sign.
Oh gosh, yes. That's
getting hot.
PTSD just thinking about that kind of stuff. Oh
god. Yeah, well then like it helps that like some of your coworkers are pop culture nerds. So like you're always talking about pop culture.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That always helps.
Like I even did the Death Star monologue. Like to one of my coworkers one time.
About the contract workers on the Death Star?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Bambino, the gangster.
Yeah.
I get contractors think this is head. But yeah, I love that movie. That movie's amazing.
Berserker. Okay.
All right. So you guys are ready to wrap up this video?
Unless we got something else. But yeah,
I'm just giggling now from thinking about all this stuff from Clerks.
So guys, if you like this episode and you want to see more spooky and weird content, make sure you slap that subscribe button and follow me on Facebook and Twitter X at Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond. And also, don't forget to leave this episode a killer comment and give this episode a King Kong size thumbs up. And I'll see you guys next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. You guys have a good night. Bye.